World Economic Forum slammed for rigging data to make Brexit look like a failure. I can't believe the World Economic Forum lied. But anyway, Davos founder allegedly intervened. Oh, this is a different article. The World Economic Forum has been accused of manipulating official data to portray Brexit in a negative light, as essentially pretty much everybody else has done for years now. Klaus Schwab, the 87-year-old founder of the Davos Summit, allegedly pressured staff to alter the UK's standing in a major global report because he feared it would be used by Leave supporters. Oh, was Brexit actually beneficial for us? And you decided to fudge the numbers because you didn't want everybody else leaving. No, we need all of your money and everybody should join. More money, more power. Let's all assimilate. Let's all assimilate into global homo bullshit. But anyway, according to an internal investigation triggered by a whistleblower, Schwab intervened in the 2017-18 Global Competitiveness Report, which ranks countries on productivity and long-term prosperity. So, of course, everybody is better in the EU. Yeah, everybody join up. Give me your money. Give me... Let me chew on your brain glands. But anyway, after a change in methodology, the UK's ranking rose from 7th to 4th. But Schwab reportedly wrote to staff that the UK must not see any improvement because it would be exploited by the Brexit camp. So see, this is the thing that bothers me. See all the, scientists say and data says and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, scientists can be bought out just like any politician. Look at what fucking happened with COVID, right? And I hate that because science used to be science and studies and research and surveys and blah, blah, blah used to be the paragons and bastions of truth and blah, blah, blah. But now you just don't know what to trust. And when people are going, here's a scientific paper, and but there was that entire thing where people were publishing bullshit scientific papers that as a joke, and they were getting published in journals, and then just recently you're getting a woman that turns out has been lying and fudging all of her data, and she's been fucking fired, she lost her tenure at the university, there's been all kinds of stuff like that happening. And I don't like it because I'd like to try and think of myself as a logic and facts kind of guy, but then the problem is now I cannot trust the logic or the facts because everybody that works in every field now has a political fucking bias. And no matter what anybody says, your bias feeds into your work. It just does, right? Even if you work in something that's meant to be as objective as science. But still, the final report instead showed the UK dropping to 8th place. At the time, the WEF claimed the Brexit vote had not influenced the rankings, but warned that it was likely to undermine Britain's competitiveness in the long run. The report stated, Brexit will by definition weaken the UK's market component as integration with the EU is rolled back. Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform UK, said, every conspiracy theory about Klaus Schwab now turns out to be true. He is a dangerous globalist manipulator. Nigel, even a broken clock. Why don't you like Nigel Farage? There's a bunch of stuff I'm not going to go public with, right? Look, it's a net benefit that he's in Parliament, and I've got a feeling that he is probably going to be Prime Minister one day, but basically, don't trust the guy. His deputy Richard Tice added, no surprise the globalist WEF appears to have distorted facts to prevent sovereignty and independence being seen as a good thing. They are a dreadful organisation that reform will have nothing to do with. When the 2017 report was published, the UK had voted to leave the EU, but was still locked in early and difficult negotiations. The idea of a second referendum to reverse the 2016 vote was still under discussion. Then Prime Minister Theresa May spoke at Davos in both 2017 and 2018, declaring that Britain was approaching its post-Brexit future with confidence and intended to build a truly global Britain based on free trade. The allegations of research tampering are part of a broader internal probe into Schwab's conduct, which also includes claims he misused funds, made suggestive comments to younger staff, and intervened in countries' rankings for political ends. Now, in regards to this, remember, you will eat the bugs, you will live in the pod, you will own nothing, and you will be happy. Like, that stuff, right? This, like, Schwab's already misused the funds, right? Basically, everybody will be global socialism and everything will be great, where basically all of the property and the assets and the food and the fucking just anything really, anything tangible would have to be controlled by a central governing body to decide who gets what, which basically means a certain group of elites would control all of the world's money, all of the world's food, all of the world's produce, absolutely anything anybody produces, because of that Marxist fucking bullshit, to each according to his ability. No, is it from each according to his ability to each according to their fucking laziness, right? Basically, he was the guy that was proposing all this stuff, and just like any good socialist leader, the instant he had access to the biscuit tin, he was blah, 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 and like that's what all of them fucking do. Right, so see anybody that's supporting this fucking global socialism stuff, basically everybody starves while the top 1% get even fucking fatter. Right? That's what happened. Schwab was the biggest proponent of this, and lo and behold, he stole everything. Well, not everything, he got caught. Right, and that's why he's had to fucking resign and why he's been investigated over all this shit. Right, it doesn't work. Because human beings are fallible and they have biases. And a lot of human beings especially are biased towards themselves. Right? Yeah, everybody else can have a few bags of rice, but I like steak, you know? And if you can, you should, you know? Like, yeah. Don't trust socialists. Switzerland's Sonntag Zeitung newspaper obtained preliminary findings of the investigation, which is being conducted by law firm Homburger. European names. The investigation also reveals that Schwab allegedly acted to shield India from a drop of 20 places in the same report. Superpower. He was reportedly trying to secure Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's attendance at the 2019 Davos conference, which is attended by around 60 world leaders. Schwab allegedly told staff, "We must protect our relationship with India before Davos 2019. India's ranking fell by just one place, from 39 to 40th. The expenses claims of Schwab and his wife Hilde, are also under review, with £836,000 in costs reportedly submitted without clear links to WEF activity, including a lovely little mansion house on a lake." But anyway, the newspaper also reported that Schwab had embarrassing interactions with younger staff and sent suggestive emails. Schwab accused the WEF board of breaking a confidentiality agreement after the initial findings were leaked. He said, "I feel deceived. I am not available for further investigations." Priti Patel, the shadow foreign secretary, said, "For such a senior figure in geopolitical affairs to have conspired and manipulated information against Brexit and the democratic outcome of a political process is a stain on the reputation of the WEF, of which there are very, very many, and those who are part of that forum, and it is thoroughly unacceptable." She added, "The WEF had built its reputation on geopolitical thought leadership, but is now being exposed for its own anti-democratic practices, sinister manipulation, and corrupted process, all based upon damaging Britain's reputation and standing in the world because of Schwab's narrow-minded and selfish ideological purposes." And yeah, it's a case of they totally want to demonise nations being nationalistic, right? Because it all is a result of the end game. And a very, very dear friend of mine calls it the New World Order, where basically lots of countries and lots of borders. I don't like a line in the ground where my power and authority ends. I don't like that. I would like to control the entire world, please. So basically they get everybody to like all migrate elsewhere and here and there and get everybody to shag each other until we're all fucking mulattoes wearing grey jumpsuits. And then there's no borders, and then there's literally nothing, no borders to... Basically, when there's no borders to nations, there's also no borders to people's authority. Right? That's why borders are a good thing. They can protect you from the very, very bad guy that's just over the fence right there. That's why borders are good. Borders aren't just protection from another nation. They're protection from other governments. They're protection from little skeezy, schemy people that want to control everything you do and everything you say and take your stuff so that they can use it to buy lake houses while you eat the bugs. Right? That's why. That's another reason why borders are a good thing. No, Mohammed should be able to live down the street from me, right next to a school. Please, refugees are welcome here. Like, fuck off. Right, it's not just migrants we're trying to protect ourselves from. Lord Frost, who negotiated the UK's Brexit deal under Boris Johnson, said, "It's rare that we get such clear direct evidence of the global establishment's hostility to Brexit." I mean, it kind of is, actually. We're doing pretty well now. Schwab's alleged deliberate downgrading of Brexit Britain in his Global Competitiveness report, directly contrary to the actual evidence, shows how deeply embedded distrust of national independence is, and how determined so many people are to suppress any discussion of its benefits, because they don't want the EU breaking up. They don't want the EU breaking up. Mostly because it is a massive big cash cow and the people in charge of it, the unelected leaders, fucking love that shit. But also because they need essentially a giant military alliance to hold back China and Russia. essentially. He added, Labour's continued denunciation of our trade agreement with the EU and their refusal to acknowledge that their trade deals with India and the US would have been impossible without it are the direct descendants of Schwab's censorship. Ideology before evidence, belief before fact. The WEF has declined to comment until the investigation concludes, which is expected in August. The term Davos man was coined by political scientist Samuel P. Huntington to describe an elite who have little need for national loyalty, view national boundaries as obstacles that thankfully are vanishing, and see national governments as residues from the past, because they want an international government. But anyway, basically, a bunch of socialist authoritarians lied. What's new?